Good evening, Hope College. My name is Katie DeCoster. I'm one of the advisors for orientation, and we are so excited to welcome you to Hope on August 27. Our webinar tonight is about understanding your college classes, and we have a few different Hope experts who you will hear from. First up is Alyssa Boss. Alyssa is the Associate Registrar and Associate Director of Advising. She's going to walk you through how to access your schedule and talk about exactly what to do if you would like to make any changes. Here's Alyssa.
Thank you, Katie. Hey everyone, it's good to see all of you on here tonight. I hope your day is going well. Like Katie said, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about your schedule. I hope to oversee some of the process to get you registered for classes. To tell you just a little bit more about how we made your schedule, staff in our office took responses from your registration survey that you submitted and then put together a schedule that helps keep you on track for some of the major and career interests that you listed, as well as for general education requirements. Everyone's schedule looks a little bit different. Sometimes depending on the major career interests you shared with us, you might be interested in a major that's very sequenced and you'll have a lot of courses for your major. Other students are registered for more general education requirements or students or courses not necessarily for their major, and that's okay. We make sure we get you a schedule that keeps you on track for what you tell us you're interested in. Yesterday, you received an email with instructions for how to view your schedule. So hopefully you were able to look over that. I'm going to walk you through how to do that as well tonight and how to read your schedule, and then talk a little bit about that Understanding Your Class Schedule website that we also sent out, where you can find a lot of information about frequently asked questions. So I'm going to share my screen and show you an example of a schedule and what your schedule might look like so you can see what that looks like. So to get to your schedule, you're going to log into your Plus Hope account with your ID and password. Once you're logged in, you'll see this main menu screen. And from there, to get to your schedule, you're going to go to Registrar and Student Accounts, and then to Registration. From here, you have a lot of different options for how to view your schedule, and I'll talk to you about each one. The first is the Schedule Planner. The Schedule Planner is a tool that allows students to see a lot of different options for how to build a schedule, but you can see the courses that you're registered for right in there. So if you were to click on that, it's going to open another screen, and you'll see all the courses that you are registered for. Starting on the left-hand side, you'll see every course has a 5-digit number. In the fall, it starts with an 8. They're called CRNs. And it's unique to every course number. So you'll see that there. You'll see a section number. The course is offered at multiple different times with different instructors. They have different section numbers. And then you'll see the subject and course number. You'll see your instructor, and then the meeting days and times and where they meet in the credits. If you want kind of a view of what your week will look like, you can click the Generate Schedules button and then View, and you'll see more detailed information there. So this student is also enrolled in a last half semester course, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then you can scroll down and see what you're registered for and how that would look throughout the week. I mentioned up here, last half course. Some sections you'll see an A or a B after the section number. There are some courses that only meet for half of the semester. This semester, first half courses, so courses with the letter A after the section number, will go until October 20, and then they're done. If you're enrolled in a last half semester course, the course will start October 21 and go through the rest of the semester. So if you do see an A or a B on your schedule, that's what that means. And then you also have a first year seminar, that's IDS 100. Every student takes first year seminar in the first semester. Those were courses where you had to read through all the descriptions and then tell us 10 that interested you, and then we picked one from there. So you can see the section number there, and you are able to look back in that first year seminar description list to see which one was chosen for you. I'll go back and show the other views. You also have this printable term schedule, and that also gives you kind of that weekly outline. But that will put courses at the bottom that don't have a scheduled meeting time. Like this course is a field placement, the time will be set up later. Or you might have health dynamics, kinesiology 140, that course meets online asynchronously, so it means it doesn't have an assigned time. Or if course meets the last half of the semester, that's going to be listed at the bottom too. Then you also have the student detail schedule, which is just a list of all of your courses with all the information that you need there. And finally, you have a weekly schedule. That's also kind of a layout view, but you'll want to be careful when you use the weekly schedule because the first week of classes start on Tuesday. So it might appear that you don't have classes on Monday, which most likely you do. So you'd have to go to the next week to see those Monday classes. I'm also going to show you that Understanding Your Class Schedule website. You were linked to this as well. If you have questions about your schedule, you can find a lot of information on this website. So I encourage you to spend some time looking over this. To start, it gives some suggestions for how to find your schedule, how to read it, the section number. There's that link right to the first year seminar descriptions there, so you can look that up. And there is a note here, we do have 2 sections that are offered twice, so the same topic offered twice. So if perhaps you requested section 13 and you see section 41 on your schedule, or if you asked for 15, you see 40, those are the same classes. You can see different information about delivery methods, credits for classes, that first and last half, different types of classes you'll see on your schedule, some pending placements for music. All of that information is there. It also covers what to do if you see a class you didn't ask for. We work really hard to give you a schedule that helps keep you on track for your major. So sometimes if we see that you have an interest in a major, we make sure we put you in classes for that and prioritize some of the more sequenced ones over another. Or we needed other general education courses to register you for to give you a full schedule. So you may or may not see courses on there that you asked for or not. But if you do have concerns, you can let us know, but the information here will help with that as well. It covers information about time concerns. Our campus is very walkable, so having 10 minutes in between classes is definitely okay. And then for that lunchtime, Phelps Hall is open until 2:15. So there's lots of time to get lunch as well. And then for athletes, we did our very best to make sure that you are free for practice. There's information about level concerns. One thing in particular this year is that the sending of AP scores is delayed. So we are still waiting on a lot of scores from College Board. So there is a chance that you might be in a course that you end up getting credit for, or perhaps we made a guess that you're going to get credit and then you didn't. Once we receive your scores, we'll look at your schedule and we'll make an adjustment if we need to. And we'll email you to let you know if we made a change. So just know that those scores are still coming to us, and we'll make adjustments as necessary. And then finally, there's, before I talk about schedule changes, at the bottom of this website, you can see all of the courses that can count for different general education requirements. So if you see a course on your schedule and you're not sure what requirement that course might count for, I would check this out to see what gen ed requirement you're completing. And then also as a reminder, If you're not sure why you might be in a certain course, I would look at the gen ed recommendations and the major recommendations you looked at when you were completing the survey to see what those suggested courses were. If you do have a concern about your schedule, you're welcome to email us. Just email advising@hope.edu, and we can help walk you through that. We do get a large volume of emails, so just be patient. We'll answer your questions as fast as possible. But yeah, feel free to send us an email and we'll look at that with you. You'll also get an opportunity during orientation to sit down with your advisor, who's the instructor of your first year seminar course, and look at your schedule as well. So you'll get another chance to ask questions and make changes if you need to. So with that, I'm going to ask Katie to come back and she'll introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. We are going to move over to Amy Freehofer now. Amy is a senior academic and career advisor with the Boerrechter Center for Calling and Career. And I know some of you may be thinking it's too early for me to be going to the Career Center, but they're actually an incredible complement to all of your college courses. Amy will tell you a little bit about that right now.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so one of the things that we really want you to hear is that we want our freshmen to come to our office and spend time with us, because Alyssa just talked to you a bit about your schedule and talked about how we went about creating those schedules for you. But it's really common for students to maybe not have all the classes that they were thinking that they might like to take, because you can only take so many in a semester. Or between now and partway into the semester, you may be changing your mind about your major, or maybe you're somebody who's coming in still not decided on what it is you want to major in. And that's a conversation that I really want to be able to have with you. There are folks in our office, including myself, that are happy to sit down with you and talk about how your current classes are helping to shape what you might want to major in. And sometimes it's really about deductive reasoning. Like, what are the classes that I'm taking? What are things that I've done in high school that I know I don't want to do? The most common question that I hear when students come in, or the most common thing I hear is, I don't have any idea what I want to do with my life. In fact, I jokingly say that's sort of my unofficial title, that I don't know what to do with my life person. But through conversation and through like connecting you to alumni and talking through what your classes, what you like and what you're not liking about them, can really help you better find your path. So we do a lot of work around exploring different majors. And that includes even helping you understand what might be classes that you would schedule for the following semester to continue to explore and figure out what kind of path you want to be on. It may be connecting you to faculty that you aren't currently taking classes from. Like, believe it or not, faculty actually want to talk to you way before you ever declare a major. And I think that's another thing that students often come in saying, like, they're a little afraid that faculty don't want to talk to them. That's absolutely not true. So we can connect you to things like helping you around advising about what classes you might be thinking about taking down the road, what you're really enjoying out of the ones that you are currently taking, what might make sense to pair with another class to help you figure that out. We can even start to connect you with alumni if you're somebody who's already kind of figured out your path, to continue to explore and see whether or not that's a path that's for you. So there's all kinds of things that we can really actively do alongside you until you figure out what major and sort of what career paths you're really considering. Fun fact, on average, Hope students actually change their majors 3 times. So for those of you who are maybe out there and undecided, please know that one, there's usually about 30 to 35% of our incoming freshman class that are undecided on their majors, and that's okay. That's why a liberal arts college is so great. Right? There's all kinds of things. Alyssa mentioned our general education requirements. Like, those are great ways to explore disciplines you've never even had the opportunity to take. And so it's having conversations like that. It's connecting you with people on our campus, off our campus, and also assessments. So we use 2 assessments here at Hope, and we actually sent you an invitation, I think back in June, asking that you complete by the end of this week the Clifton Strengths Finder assessment tool. I'm a trained coach and I love sitting down individually with students to talk through their strengths. It's a tool that we will introduce you to and start conversation with in your orientation process. We will have a session from our office and some of our staff, could be me, around how you can use your strengths to sort of figure out what are your passions, what are you really good at, and how does that look in a classroom, and what classes should you be considering and majors should you be considering. So I really encourage you, if you have not taken strengths yet, please, please, please go back to that email, or you can go to the website that Alyssa was talking about in terms of all the information you need as an incoming freshman. There's a link there, or you're welcome to email me directly. You've got my name there, or even just our office. And we can connect you with how you can go ahead and take that assessment. There's an additional assessment tool called Pathway U that we also use. And again, it's just one of those things that we can bring into conversation that will help give you some direction. A couple of little helpful hints before I hand it back over to Katie. One of the biggest things that I think is different between going from high school to college is like the amount of time you're in class, the amount of time you need to spend outside of class. So one of the, I think, helpful pieces would be to understand that in high school, you actually spent the majority of your day in class and much less time outside of class doing homework. And in college, you're going to flip that. So in college, you may only be in classes 2 or 3 hours in a day, but you're probably going to need to spend 5 to 6 hours outside of those classes actually studying. I also encourage you to kind of take a breath. Like, you will get introduced to all kinds of activities, and those are great, but we don't want you to drink through a fire hose. So we really want you to think about, like, as you're looking at your classes and how much time you're going to need to study and to dedicate to organizing that, maybe take on one activity and see how that's fitting into your schedule. I think it's really helpful to find a good routine. And again, organization is really key. I advise to a lot of students, and one of the things I really encourage them to do is find a planning tool that will really help with them. So those are just some kind of fun facts, tidbits that I wanted to share, but I really hope that I get a chance to meet with all of you, because our office really wants to partner with you right from the get-go to help you figure out what classes make sense, what majors make sense, and then what kind of careers feel like they really are of interest to you. Katie?
Thank you so much, Amy. Next, I'm excited to introduce you to David James. David is the coordinator of academic coaching with the Academic Success Center. So Amy just talked about all of the rigor of your college classes, and David is here just to give you some tips about where to go for coaching or tutoring.
Well, thanks, Katie. Appreciate your including the Academic Success Center in this program. And hi to all of you, wherever you are. I'm down in the woods east of Saugatuck, Michigan, which is about 20 minutes south of Holland. And I actually conducted most of my business from here this past year, as you can imagine. Before I talk about the ASC, I'd like to dovetail on Amy's comments. I'm a Hope grad myself. And I didn't know what I was going to major in until the end of my sophomore year. And then I actually added another major in the spring of my junior year. So things do turn around in ways you'll never imagine. So if you don't have things figured out yet, please don't worry about that. Okay. So I work in the ASC, the Academic Success Center. You'll usually hear it called the ASC. And we have several different services that help you work through your classes if you need it. I would say our biggest business is course tutoring. Along about the second week of classes, the coordinator of tutoring will open up applications, online applications for tutoring. And this is by far the most popular thing in our office. I think by the end of that week, she often has 150 applications for tutoring. And it may be a different scene than what you're used to in high school. Students, let's say a pre-med student who can't get an A- in chem will get a tutor so she can get an A. So tutoring is very popular, and you don't have to worry about anybody thinking that it's not the thing to do. It's definitely the thing to do. Complementary to that, for some courses, we also have group sessions, either sponsored by us or by departments that go along with certain courses. But even if you are in a group, you can still get a tutor for yourself. And sometimes you're paired up with another student or even 3 students with a tutor, because eventually we run out of tutors. It's that popular. Now, the thing that I do is called academic coaching and also study skills tutoring. With academic coaching, what I do, you can apply for that. And what I do is I pair you up with one of my slightly older students, peers of yours, and the 2 of you can work through certain obstacles that you might feel that you have towards success in college. And it's, instead of a cookie cutter approach, the coach is actually helping you figure out what you need to get along. So every student, of course, is going to have a different set of skills to work on. You can also meet with me one-on-one for hourly study skills appointments, as many as you wish. All of this is free, by the way, in case you were thinking you might have to pay for it. You do not have to pay for it. And then there's one more service, and that is mainly for STEM students in certain courses. It's called PPL. And what this does is it puts you in a group in a specific course, and the person who runs the group, an older student who's already taken the course, attends the class so she knows what's going on. And then there's a set sort of curriculum for these group meetings and extra practice or whatever it might be that you need to do to learn this material. Those groups are set up in the specific courses. And if the course you're taking has PPL, you'll hear about that from the professor. But the director of the ASC is actually the one who coordinates all of those groups through all the courses, and they're in different disciplines. I can't even remember what they are, but because I don't deal with that. So we are located in the building that's connected to the library on the 2nd floor. I just mentioned that so that you can think library, ASC. You just go through the double doors, take a right, and there we are. I think that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, feel free to put them on the Q&A and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Back to you, Katie.
Thank you, David. We have one more speaker for you tonight. And before I introduce her, I just want to remind you that there are great questions happening in the Q&A. So feel free to take a look over there. It could be about college courses, or it could be related to other things like orientation or move-in. So let us know what's on your mind and we'll do our best to get you those answers. Our final speaker tonight is Carrie Detels. Carrie is an accessibility specialist. She's in the Office of Disability and Accessibility Resources, and she has some great information to share with you.
Carrie, you're still muted.
All right, so sorry about clearly I don't do a lot of these. And I'm a little bit nervous. So what I was saying when you couldn't hear me is that we work with students on campus with multiple disabilities. So learning disabilities might come to mind when you think about academic programs. We also work with students with physical conditions, ADD, ADHD, mental health diagnoses, students with low vision or who are blind, students with hearing loss or are deaf, and chronic medical conditions. And our role on campus really is to ensure that every student can say, I can get where I need to go, I can fully participate when I'm there, and I can access all information. So one of the things we do when students do experience barriers is we're the place to come to for accommodations. Academic accommodations that are accommodations that are approved often could include testing accommodations of things of extended time, reduced distraction space, readers for exams, for classroom accommodations that could include note-taking assistance, use of a laptop or a computer. We will work with students to help them find assistive technology that could be used for accommodations. We are the place to come if you need electronic text, if you use screen readers, those kinds of things. We're also the office on campus to go to if you need housing accommodations. So often students will come to us if there's a physical barrier in the living environment, if they need access to a kitchen because of food allergies, if they need air conditioning because of asthma or allergies, or extra space for medical equipment or supplies. Those are some of the reasons we might approve housing accommodations. We also work with students who have temporary conditions. So if they've had an injury or surgery, or they've had a concussion, that we're the office they can come to get accommodations and support through that. Many of the students actually that we work with for academic accommodations had similar accommodations in high school. So if you had an IEP or a 504, I definitely encourage you to come talk to us just to see what those accommodations might look like in college. But I would say probably about a quarter of the students that we work with did not use accommodations in high school. And that's particularly true for students with ADHD. So when you come to campus, if you experience barriers or you struggle in courses in ways that you never have before, that might be a time to come to our office and just kind of talk about what accommodations might be available to make sure that you are able to demonstrate what you know and not the impact of your medical condition or your ADHD. To get started, you can visit our website. It's hope.edu/DAR and complete a request for access. It's the top blue box on the right-hand side of our website. And then when you get to campus, you can always come visit us too. We're co-located with the Academic Success Center on the second floor right next to the library. That's it.
Thank you so much for joining us all here tonight. We have loved getting the opportunity to share a little bit more with you. We are always available by phone and email. I think that the main email address that you received this morning or this evening was for advising, but orientation@hope.edu and first year at hope.edu are always there and available to answer any questions that you have. We can't wait to welcome you to Hope on the 27th. Good night.